Now, Palantir, basically at your end step, you scry 2, and then your opponent can decide to either have you draw a card or have you mill a number of cards equal to the number of counters on Palantir. And if they choose to have you mill the cards, they'll take damage equal to the total mana cost of the cards milled. It's a fun little card. So the rest of the deck is essentially a mono black deck with a very small amount of green splash. So we have Dothy for graveyard hate, but also sometimes you can steal a big Eldrazi monster and use it against your opponent, which is always very fun. And that's actually one of the strategies that won Rakdos mid range the Modern Championship back in 23. Um, I have Huskburster Swarm, which is not a very common card, but this card is a card that has a very high mana cost. So if this ends up being milled by your opponent with Palantir, they'll take 8 damage from it. Otherwise, it actually has a pretty cool effect, which you don't see too often, which is that both creatures in your exile and your graveyard, if the number of creatures in your exile and your graveyard, it reduces the amount to cast Husk Buddy by those number of creatures. It's a 6/6 menace, death touch. Graveyard hate, your typical graveyard hate does not work on it because it includes those exiled cards. Typically not casting this very often. Anytime I see it, when I scry with the Palantir trigger, I will almost always put that on top and hope the opponent mills. So Orcish Bowmasters for sniping weenies and also draw hate. Shouldered is a core of this deck. She's just a problem you got to deal with. Also some draw hate there and life gain for you. Torok, which is nice against the number of white cards in the format right now. Also, its ability allows has your opponent discard 2 cards at random, which is nice for not only disrupting their hand, but at the same time, if you have Dothy on the field, you might be able to steal a big guy or something like that. Troll, usually, or I used to run with just 2 of these guys, primarily used for swamp cycling, but it's a 6-drop, and that's another one of those cards that can be milled for 6 damage. So this one thing about using Palantir is I've added some of these higher cost cards. Very rarely do I cast Troll, but occasionally it happens. Thoughtseize, classic Wither Bloom command is my splash screen. I like this because it's emergency life gain if you need it. It's a little bit of burn damage. I've won games by doing the target opponent loses 2 life ability. It returns a land from the graveyard, which has been probably the most utilized ability here that I've personally done. It can destroy cheap artifacts, and it can occasionally kill a meanie as well. Cling to Dust for draw, and also it's recursive, so you can cast it from your graveyard with Escape. It's very nice. If you have Shouldered on the battlefield, then it's emergency life gain and draw at the same time. But even without Shouldered, you can get 3 life from it. Fatal Push, Shouldered's Edict, I like a lot, especially for taking out Planeswalkers. And it's not targeting anything. So anything that would prevent you from targeting an opponent's creature, they sacrifice it. So that's really nice. Especially since there's this new Seven Sires card that has Ward 1,000,000. And then Victim of Night, just another removal card. Then I have the 4 Palantirs. The land base is very mono black. It does have Underground Mortuary, which is Cottage is MVP occasionally. It allows me to put a creature on top of my deck, and there's a few cards that allow me to draw here. Palantir is one of them. Cling to Dust. Occasionally, you can line up a Witch's Cottage right before you draw, and you can decide what card you're getting next. Mortuary. I already covered Mortuary. Lockthwain is another card that we can use to draw cards. In the sideboard, I have Break the Ice and Damping Spheres for anti-Eldrazi, and Damping Sphere also for anti-Storm. Phyrexian Crusader, just to add a little bit more white and red protection. Pick your poison is nice, especially with Oculus right now, because you can typically, or a lot of the time, you could have them sacrifice their Oculus because that's flying, but also removes artifacts and enchantments, which is just lovely. Relic I'm enjoying as the graveyard hate quite a bit. And if you relic your own graveyard, remember that the creatures will move to exile, which means you can still decrease your casting cast for Huskburster and extra Torox for good measure. Okay, so jumping into match number 5, as you can see, I have a terrible record so far. Started off strong, and then it just seems to have gotten worse since. So we'll see where we end up here for match 5. Alrighty, and I will need to fix this window first of all. And I'll be on the play. Okay, so what do we have here? We have tap land, overgrown tomb. Well, we have at least plays on turn 1 and 2. So potential plays anyway. So let's go ahead and roll with this. And the reason I have this channel is just so I can get feedback if anybody wants to burden themselves with watching me play Magic. I would love feedback and just to become better at it. So opponent has mulled to 6. And they are continuing to consider. There we go. They kept 6. My turn. I will use this fetch land and pass the turn. Sometimes I like to keep the fetch land so that I could fatal push something bigger, but I think it might be more beneficial to potentially get Mortuary early on here, considering the number of lands I have in hand. So I will go fetch Mortuary. More removal. So look, I see a white and blue here. I don't know. I guess they could have some creatures. All right, let us draw Victim of Night. Pass to my turn. Put down a land and I'll pass. And I can either Victim or Orcish Bowmasters until my next turn. So, or Fatal Push too, but just so I got some creature removal. A human deck. I don't know that I've played many human decks. Coppercoat Vanguard. Okay. Ward 1. Interesting. Each other human gets +1/+0 and has Ward 1. I will actually just take this out because I don't like Ward. Okay, what we have here is more. I'm going to do this just to have the mana on hand. And what I'll do is, again, I'll save Orcish and probably Swamp Cycle or use Orcish during their turn, if it makes sense. So a human deck in red, blue, and white. It looks like, although with secluded courtyard, it looks like they can pick any color mana as long as it's to cast a human. So I don't know if human decks can go as wide as Merfolk. And I like that because we do have a fair amount of removal, but it's more like single target creature removal and not removing a bunch of creatures at once. So decks that stay narrower, even if they're creature decks, those are a decent matchup for us. Ranger Captain, yes. When it enters, search your library for a creature card, mana value 1 or less, reveal it, put it into your hand. You can sacrifice this, and opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. So what I'd like to do is Swamp Cycle and then kill this thing. Um, or I guess the other way around would be fine. And what will they reveal? So this is the deck kind of just surviving the first few turns, and then it will start counterbalancing a little bit into taking more control. It will start stabilizing. Champion of the Parish. Whenever another human enters under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of the Parish. So lots of removal will be pretty helpful. All right, my turn. More trolls. And I have one creature in the graveyard right now, so Husk Burster would cost 7 right now. Not really the most helpful at this point in time. My hope is that they cast Champion first, and then on their next spell, I will use Orcish Bowmaster to kill Champion. A lot of white creatures so far. Definitely thinking of bringing in my other 2 Toroks and Phyrexian. Crusader. Perfect. All right. Next step. They took a little bit of damage here. All right, Bowmaster. Take out Parish. Each other human has +1/+0 and ward. I will Swamp Cycle. Thinning the deck quite a bit here. Lots of early lands. I have 5 lands here. 2 creatures in the graveyard. 8 minus 2 is 6, so I'm still a little bit short on that, but let's see what we can pull out of their hand here. Esper Sentinel. Kind of do like Esper Sentinel. It's not. I mean, with Orcish Bowmasters on the field, it helps quite a bit. Mockingbird. You may have Mockingbird enter as a copy of a creature. That could be pretty difficult to deal with. So what I'm thinking is that Thalia's Lieutenant might be the way to go here. Or Esper Sentinel. They don't have any removal right now, so if they use Esper Sentinel, the draw ability, they're going to be taking damage, or I'll be killing their creatures, which could be pretty helpful. I'm thinking Thalia's Lieutenant here. And I'm not going to attack yet. All right, so we saw this coming. As Ward 1 because of Copper Coat. Whenever I cast a non-creature spell, the first time each turn, they get to draw a card. And is this a... What are they going to copy with Mockingbird? I guess it would have to be Esper. Or I guess my guys. I guess I didn't think about that. Okay. Yeah, I did not think that they would copy my creatures, so that was my mistake. What are we drawing here? Another one of those. So one, two, three creatures in the grave. A minus 3 is 5. I can cast Huskburster here. Might not be the worst idea. Or Bowmaster. So Bowmaster could. See, all these guys have ward though, so it sucks. All right, so I think Huskburster to start taking out creatures, and it's just a threat they'll have to take into consideration is Menace and Death Touch. So if they're going to block it, they're going to leave 2 up, 2 creatures ready to block, but it'll start killing their creatures too. So maybe that is the play for now. They do have another Mockingbird though, but I'm not really afraid of it copying Huskburster because of just the sheer amount of mana it costs. Esper Sentinel, yeah, draw some cards. Is this double ward one? Like, I just only have to do the one, right? Pay the one? Yeah, I guess so. Stack ward ones is ward one regardless. Interesting. So, I think I really would like to kill. Let's do this. Let's attack with Huskburster and see where we end up. Husk Buddy. Not exactly sure what they're waiting for. They have 1 card in hand. I have up to 6 mana to use this turn, and I can return something from the graveyard too. Let's see. Just gonna let it through. Interesting. Okay. Given that, I am going to get another Bowmaster, put it on top of the deck. Yep. I was a victim of night to kill one of these ward guys. Oh, I do have to pay 2. I really don't like that. Okay. All these triggers on the stack. With these triggers on the stack, I will use Bowmaster. I don't think I have to pay 2, just the 1. So I can actually shoot something else while I'm here. And what do I want to shoot? Esper Sentinel? Maybe. Let's try Esper Sentinel. Ward 1. Alright, perfect. Oh, so I guess I do have to pay the 2. That sucks. I didn't know that the wards stacked. I kind of hate that. Fine. Yeah, draw yourself a card. Take some damage. So this will put them in a relatively tough spot unless they can win on their next turn. Because they're going to be down quite a bit on damage. They're going to have to block. All right, now we have another big guy here. A 4/4 orc and a 6/6 husk burster, and then orcish bowmasters as a blocker or some other, maybe just like a pinger if I get them to keep drawing. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. So they have 11 damage that they can send at me now, and I'm guessing their hand has some buffs. More cards I haven't seen before. When it enters, choose up to one other target artifact or creature that player controls for as long as it remains in the battlefield. The chosen permanent becomes a treasure artifact with just a treasure token, I guess, basically. Don't really like that. Oh, they're going to let Bowmaster be it, though? Okay. They didn't attack me. I do wish I had something better to do here. I'm going to have to send Husk Buddy at them, right? I think that makes sense. And even Orc Army, too. A good chance that Orc Army's going to die. Decent chance Husk Buddy will die, but I can also put 2 more blockers on the field after this. So just I think that pressure, they're going to have to respond to it. 3, 26. Yep, I'm gonna kill a couple of their guys here. A few of them, I guess. Oh, they just want to kill all of their guys, apparently. Yeah, it doesn't matter as death touch. Okay, cool. Given that, what I will do is kill Sentinel right now. All right, that was one way to clear their board. I don't really feel like I've had a very diverse set of card draws so far in this match. Opponent's down to 6. Mockingbird will copy Bowmaster, probably kill Bowmaster. Palantir, interesting. So they might want me to draw a card here. Because then they can ping me. So what do I like the most here? I don't think Thoughtseize is helpful in any way. Is Witherbloom going to help me? So, as a refresher, they lose 2 life. I can take out one of their creatures. Potentially, they do seem to have. Well, they have 2 here that I could kill. They can mill some cards, and I can return a land. I'm not sure. Well, potentially, if I can get in and hit them next turn, then then this could actually finish the game for me. So let's put Witherbloom on top, and then they can decide. I would imagine they don't want to take the damage anyway, with only 6 life left. They took the damage. Okay, very interesting. Draw a card. Yep. So they're definitely feeling the pressure now. My token is at 5/5. Their kite sail has flying, but nothing else would survive the block, I think. So they might just attack with kite sail. Yeah, okay. That was potentially the worst card I could have drawn right now. That was really bad. Okay, let's see what happens here with Palantir. I don't want either of these. Putting them both at the bottom. They let me draw a Voidwalker. I'll take a damage. So they've got 9 damage on board here until they cast their next buffer. Alright, so. Yeah, so a lot more basically like ward, like preventing me from targeting things. What are you going to do? Alright, kite sail again. They're going to hold off a little bit, it looks like. I do not feel the need to. Oh my god, that was not helpful at all. See what Palantir gives us. Who knows? Maybe they'll decide to take the damage with Palantir. You never know. Yes, yes, I will. I think Shouldered's the better pick here. I'll put that on top and then this on top. Well, maybe I should have put both on the bottom just in case. Man, I don't know if I can survive this now. 2, 4, 6, 7. I can only block one, so they've got me here. I really probably should have put both those on the bottom. That's fine. Continuing to game two. Bad call at the end there. Torok's coming in. Phyrexian Crusaders coming in. I like Pick Your Poison because I can kill a creature with flying. Especially gets past Ward too, which is nice. Damping Sphere. I don't think that's the play. I was thinking it might. They seem to be casting a lot of low cost creatures, but I don't think that's the play here. So I've added 5 cards. I need to remove 5 cards. I've been enjoying my removal. Voidwalker might not be. Well, it can get past blocks though. That's a good thing about Voidwalker. Other than that, it's not the most helpful. Huskburster actually helped out quite a bit. Bowmaster wasn't great. All right, so I think Voidwalker and then one Bowmaster. Really try and get that removal going early. Mortuary first, so I get some green ready to go, or maybe Thoughtseize, and then Mortuary. Or Swamp Cycle, and then I can play Torok on turn 2. All right, I think the play here is Mortuary, and then maybe next turn consider Thought Seizing. Yeah, I'll keep that on top. So Thoughtseize next turn, along with a Swamp Cycle to get some more lands. And at a certain point here, I'm gonna deplete their hand. Either. Well, I can Pick Your Poison either vial. I do like that. I think that's what I'll do. I didn't think about that while sideboarding, but it was a good decision. And I think I wanna just Swamp Cycle at the end of their end step here. At the end of their end step. The beginning of their end step. Okay, Swamp Cycle. What do I want to do here? Thoughtseize Torok. Palantir, get that going. Witherbloom, take out Esper. I don't necessarily want them drawing a bunch of cards. Or Torok, Swamp Cycle. I think Esper is a bigger threat. Maybe I just take out Esper and don't let them draw a card. And then Swamp Cycle and Torok. Kick Torok on the next. So maybe we'll try that. So this, and I don't have a land in my graveyard right now, so I don't necessarily want to do that, but I guess I'll just gain some life. This one. And this one. If I let him draw it, I think I'm going to. Yeah, because I want a Swamp Cycle, so I'm going to let them have that. Probably take the hit here. I wonder if they have any creatures that are not white except for that copycat. I don't know what it is, copy bird, something like that. Another one. Don't like that card. That copy coat. Copper coat. So kick Torok, they'll put 2 in the graveyard, Mockingbird, and then Ranger. So I think those are 2 big ones for them. And I now have protection from white. I would be able to currently kill their champion of the parish by blocking it, either of them, even their biggest one. Yep, this is going to hurt a little bit. Do I kill one of them here? Do I take an extra 2 damage to prevent a potential 5 later? Maybe I do. And then I'll take 8, 9, 10 damage. That's a lot. Or I can take 8 damage. 8 damage and kill a guy, or take just some damage and don't kill a guy. I think you gotta go 8. Sorry, 10 damage and kill a guy, or 8 and don't. Would I pay 2 life to kill one of their guys? Yes, I would. Yes, I would do that. So I will. Unless they've got some shenanigans up their sleeves. And do any of these guys have flying? Now I don't want to Thoughtseize, but I might not have much of an option here. Oops, I don't know why I clicked 2. This thing can go. They discarded. Lovely. Palantir. And I'm going to let Torok remain a blocker here. Please let me draw Shouldered next turn. This is going to the top in hopes that they mill it. And this is going to the bottom. Let's see what they decide. Ooh, they took the damage. All right, 12. They're just going to keep doing this, I guess. Fine. Oh, they got me here. Fuck.